She laughed when I accused her. Until an STD landed her in the hospital. And I made sure she lost everything. Chapter 1. Her laugh was the first lie. I used to think the worst sound in a marriage was silence, the kind that fills the room after a brutal fight. But I was wrong. The worst sound is laughter. Specifically, the kind that escapes your wife's lips when you accuse her of sleeping with another man, and she finds your heartbreak funny. Her name was Isabel. We had been married for 7 years. No kids, just 2 demanding careers. She was a senior creative director at a fast-growing firm, and I worked in logistics, managing supply chains across the country. It wasn't a fairy tale, but we were solid. Or at least I thought so. Lately the cracks began to show. She was glued to her phone more than usual, came home late, changed her perfume. She had this faraway smile, one that used to be reserved for me, but now appeared only when she was scrolling through her screen. I ignored it longer than I should have. Maybe out of fear. Maybe out of love. But denial can only protect you until it becomes a weapon against yourself. So one Thursday evening I asked. She was leaning against the kitchen counter, swirling red wine in a glass, half scrolling, half smirking. I stood in the doorway and said, "Are you sleeping with your boss?" She paused, just for a beat, long enough to confirm everything. Then she laughed. Short, mocking burst. "You're serious," she said, shaking her head. "Ethan, have you lost your mind? Been watching too many movies again?" Her voice rose. "So I switch up my perfume and stay late, and suddenly I'm cheating? Grow up." She brushed past me and left the room. That night I didn't sleep. Not because of her laughter, but because of the truth hidden underneath it. Chapter 2. The quiet before collapse. 2 nights later, she called around 9:30 p.m., saying she was staying late for a critical pitch rehearsal. I didn't argue. I drove straight to her office building and parked in the shadows across the street. 30 minutes later I saw him. Patrick Callahan, her boss. Mid-40s. Arrogant posture. A smirk that could sour milk. He exited the building first. Then came Isabel. Hair tousled. Lipstick faded. Blazer misaligned. She kissed him on the cheek before parting ways. That was the moment my heartbreak died, and something colder replaced it. I didn't confront her. Not then. Because real revenge doesn't come from yelling. Comes from precision. The next morning I contacted a private investigator. His name was Cal Monroe. Discreet. Thorough. Ruthless. While Isabel laughed and lied her way through the days that followed, Cal collected proof. Photos, timelines, voice notes. Even office rumors. And then she started to break. First came the fatigue. Then the nausea. Missed dinners. Cancelled outings. "I think I'm just overworked," she muttered one morning. "It's stress. Campaign's a beast." I looked her in the eyes and said gently, "Or maybe it's catching up to you." She didn't catch the undertone. Her body was already betraying her before I ever needed to. Chapter 3. When truth hits like fire. It happened on a Tuesday morning. I was making coffee when I heard her scream from the bathroom. I rushed in. She was on the floor, pale, sweating, crying. "It burns," she sobbed. "Ethan, it burns. Please help." I took her to the ER. Didn't say a word. Hours later, a doctor entered with a clipboard and a calm, clinical tone. "You've tested positive for trichomoniasis," he said. "It's a sexually transmitted infection. We'll start treatment immediately." Her mouth fell open. Her world in that instant cracked. He turned to me. "Ethan, I swear." "Don't," I said. "Don't insult either of us." He turned away. Too ashamed to look me in the eye. What she didn't know was that Cal had already discovered that Patrick Callahan had passed the same STD to 2 other women at the company. One had quietly resigned. The other was preparing legal action. I had the documents. That night, while Isabel slept in pain, I copied everything onto 3 USB drives. One was mailed anonymously to her firm's board of directors. Another went to HR with a single note. "You may want to get ahead of this before lawsuits start rolling in." The third I saved for the final blow. Chapter 4. Empire of Lies. Friday morning. Isabel was still recovering when her phone rang. I watched her face drain of color. Hi. Yes. I can be there in 30 minutes. She didn't tell me what it was. Just rushed upstairs to change. Everything okay? I asked as she passed. She tried to smile. Just HR routine check-in. He nodded. Good luck. She never noticed how calm I was. That I already knew what she was walking into. HR had received the anonymous tips. One included verified proof of Patrick's misconduct. Isabel was brought into a private meeting. Do you have knowledge of Mr. Callahan's relationships with subordinates? Have you ever received preferential treatment from him? She tried to deflect, maintain control. But when legal liability was mentioned, she cracked. That afternoon, Patrick Callahan was escorted from the building. His dismissal wasn't private, because one of the USBs had also gone to a business ethics journalist, and the media had the scoop before he even packed his things. High-ranking executive fired amid STD scandal and abuse of power. The story trended by evening, but it wasn't over. Chapter 5. Her final breakdown. Isabel came home that night quiet, shattered. Patrick was fired today, she said, sitting at the table. Really? Yes. What for? She hesitated. They said. There were reports. From other women. I just stirred my pasta and smiled. Terrible. I hope you're not caught up in any of that. She walked away silently, eyes unfocused. The next morning I dropped the final strike. Cal's complete dossier. Texts, emails, internal messages, and Isabel's own test results was uploaded to a secure Dropbox. The link was shared with her firm's entire board, their top-tier clients, 2 prominent journalists, and a whistleblower hotline linked to industry compliance. By the end of the day, the story had evolved. More than one female executive implicated in power-based scandal with former boss. They didn't name her. But it didn't matter. Reddit figured it out. LinkedIn whispers confirmed it. Screenshots made the rounds. 1 week later, she was asked to resign. Chapter 6. You did this, not me. That evening, she sat across from me, eyes swollen from crying. They let me go, she whispered. I'm sorry, I replied. Her voice trembled. Was this you? I stared at her, unblinking. No, Isabel. This was you. I just turned the lights on. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't mean for it to become this. Understood. You laughed when I asked you the truth. Now the truth is laughing back. Then I said the line I had rehearsed 100 times. Your key won't work tomorrow. Don't be here. The next morning I found her standing outside. Ill. Broken. Ethan. I have nothing left, she pleaded. I opened the door just wide enough to look her in the eye. You had everything. And you destroyed it for a fling and a promotion. She dropped to her knees. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. You didn't lose me, I said. You betrayed me. That's different. And I shut the door. Epilogue, a life without her. She tried to rebuild, but the internet never forgets. She was blacklisted, ghosted by colleagues. Her family stopped defending her. Patrick. Word was he left town, trying to start a consulting gig no one hired for. As for me, I transferred to our company's West Coast branch. Got a condo by the water. Quiet life. No more pretending. 1 month later I got a letter. No name. No return address. Just 3 words. I'm truly sorry. I tossed it into the trash. That chapter was done. What would you have done? If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in Ethan's place? Remember, trust is earned. Lies leave a trail. And sometimes, silence is the loudest revenge. Stay sharp. Stay strong. Stay free.